Anyway, guys, before we get into the video here, I just wanted to say I know that these videos on cooking may not seem like an off-grid topic really, but you know, if you're gonna harvest the vegetables or grow the rabbit or vice versa, at some point you're gonna have to butcher and cook them. So just figured I'd add this to the video. I also will say that for me, I'm a single guy out here in the woods with my dog, so cooking is something that takes time, and it's part of the process, honestly. If you want to have a good meal, you got to prepare it yourself and cook it yourself. And you know, if you're going off grid by yourself, you'll understand what I'm saying, because you're gonna have to cook for yourself, or you won't eat good meals and you'll have a miserable life. And if you don't eat good meals, you know, what's the point of raising all the livestock and food and vice versa? So anyway, just figured I'd add this. Alright guys, just going to show you how I cook my okra. It's very simple. You know, you can cook it a lot of different ways. I like to cook it this way for breakfast, and sometimes I also cook some potatoes up with it as well. You know, and cook them together. Same exact way, I just cook them both in the same pot. But basically, I'm going to take some beef tallow. You can use lard as well. Beef tallow is just what I have on hand. I actually got this jar of fat here, and I actually rendered this myself from some fat that one of my neighbors gave me, which was very nice of them. They had a freezer full of fat and they were just throwing it away. I said, I'll take a bag of it and just render it down and can it. So yeah, but basically you can use whatever cooking oil you have on hand. I use animal fats because animal fats are the best ones to use. I don't care what anyone says about that. That's just how it is. Second off, I just use basic salt, just a little bit of basic salt, not a lot. That was, here, we'll toss a little bit out. That's probably plenty of salt. You can use some pepper. You know, whatever you have on hand, really. Salt and pepper are always pretty classic. And you can throw onion in, you can throw garlic powder in, whatever you have on hand. I'm going to throw a little bit of this Dollar General garlic pepper. Just give it a little extra flavor there. And I eat this for breakfast, lunch, dinner. It doesn't matter what time of day. I like to, after I cook it, get a couple nice over easy eggs and crack them right on top. But I just started the burner right now, so it's gonna heat up here and the fat will cook. Now, if you do use cast iron, a lid is nice for getting it to heat up a little faster and kind of baking and cooking a little bit faster. It's also good if you're going to cook on the fire. So I do recommend getting a lid if you get cast iron. This one fits on the pan that I use, and it also fits on the metal pot there. Dutch oven, I guess you'd call it. You can see it is starting to heat up here, starting to sizzle a little bit. It kind of just let that oil coat the pan. Also, the animal fats are really good for cast iron. Like vegetable oils and things like that are not quite as good, and I just don't like them as much anyway. They just don't have the flavor that the lard or tallow or whatever kind of fat you're using has. And it's pretty simple, guys. You really just kind of keep moving it around. You know, you don't want it to burn. If you think you need a little more oil, you can throw another spoonful of oil in, which I think I'm going to do actually. Alright, so it's cooking good. Now obviously I use this stove on my porch, just makes things a little easier because I do things off grid. So You could turn your heat down a little bit if you want. If it seems like it's going good, you don't got to cook this too hot. Unless you want to. I mean, it don't really affect anything, but you don't want it to burn really, and it might be a little bit. This burner here that I got is a little bit, how can I put it? It's a little bit hotter than your average cook stove. It's pretty good for canning though, this thing I got here. I was actually using it for heating my shower water, which I still use it for, but the old stove there I have wasn't working, so I just moved this thing up here. I'm like, I have it on hand, and that way I can just keep cooking on my porch when it rains or there's inclement weather or when it's just convenient for me. So, but anyway, this is how you cook it here. It's getting close to about done, I'd say. You don't got to do it a long time, just enough to kind of liven it up a little bit. So basically all I do is just you know, that's it. That's done right there. And I already chopped all this up as well. You don't have to chop it up, it's optional. Also, a lot of times I like to leave the stems in. They actually aren't that bad once you fry them like this. They kind of soften up, and I don't mind them. But I do like cutting them up like this because you can tell which ones kind of have gone a little too long on the stalk. So if they are a little tougher, you know which ones are tough, and you can kind of take them ones out of what you're going to cook if you cut them up like this. So that's why I cut them up specifically, because that way I can tell which ones are ripe and which ones aren't, if that makes sense. Because when they get too ripe, they tend to get a little woody and hard. So I got the bowl of it right here. Alright guys, then I like to take an egg or two and just kind of, I like to go over easy with them. You can just crack the eggs and grind them up, you know, right in the okra. But I just find that the over easy eggs just have a little different flavor, in my opinion. So anyway, I'm just frying up these eggs here. And I like them nice yellow yolks on the over easy. That's just my personal preference, but I think throwing some eggs in makes it a nice breakfast with the okra. And you know, you can throw in some Spam or some sausage or whatever you got. And it's a nice healthy breakfast too. It's kind of got some greens to it, you know, it just a very kind of a lot of nutrients and healthiness to it. And just slide them on top. And turn off your gas. And that's how I like to cook my okra. Nice and, you know, farm fresh eggs with a little bit of okra for breakfast. You can throw in some fried potatoes if you have some potatoes you grew, but that's just how I like to cook them, and it's delicious. So anyway, you just saute it with some oil, throw in some salt, pepper, or seasonings to taste, whatever you want to use, and then crack a couple eggs on top, and it's a nice breakfast. Farm fresh too, by the way. You know, it's all stuff that you're growing. This is 100% raised off my farm right here. So, well guys, I'm going to show you how I make coffee if I don't have a percolator, which I don't. I take just some hot water, pretty hot, usually like just a little below boiling. You can let it cool off if you want. Just pour it in my cup. And then I take the just a regular coffee filter. And this is a trick that some guys showed me when I used to work. But you just take your coffee and you scoop it and you put it in the coffee filter. And then you basically just wind it up and make a tea bag out of it. And then basically you just take that in your coffee cup and make coffee. So that's pretty simple, but I just figured I'd show someone. Maybe someone's out camping or something and wants coffee and doesn't want to buy a percolator. But I do recommend a percolator. I do like them. Mine just broke a while ago. It was a cheap one. So anyway. Alright. I just figured I'd show you guys the coffee. You know, it's getting good and dark. And I kind of just let it drip. Usually there's some darker coffee when you let it drip. Sit. Sit. Come on, sit. Oh, good boy. Good boy. Lay down. Lay down. Alright, good boy. Hey guys, let's make Bailey famous. Let's make Bailey famous. Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mustache Off Grid. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. And God bless. Let's make Bailey famous, guys.